Journey into the unknown. My life has always been a season of unknown stretched out before me, a place where time had no real meaning, a place where I was always safe and protected from the monsters of the world. When I was a young girl, I never feared the unknown because I was never in it. I had a community around me that always wrapped me in a garment of protection. That was until I grew older and realized the deep depths of the world is a haunted place, a place where people fear to be out. This started at a young age where my eyes were forcibly opened to the spooky place I call home. Eventually, when my first job was laying there on my lap like a slobbery puppy, I realized that the journey may be way more troubling than it originally appeared to be. It's easy to fall into temptations. It wrapped me in bondage similar to Odysseus, where screaming for help never seems to slay the dragons. My one-eyed Polyphemus were the humans I had to surround myself with every single day. It felt like an endless stretch of a dark cave that seemed to have no peak of light. However, I handled it with brooding strength and wisdom. This was the start of the challenge in my long journey. It happened on a daily cycle that never stopped, all after I was trapped in what felt like jail for 8 hours a day, listening to superiors speak tirelessly on topics that were of no concern to me. After a treacherous time of being ignored, I then went to another cavern where my desires would not be granted. I never found peace where I was. There was always thrashing between coworkers that never ended in a state of tranquility. I was never in solidarity and always had to be at the foot of someone else's decisions. I was surrounded by little demanding toddlers, never letting me have a moment to intercede. I longed for the quarrel between me and my coworkers to end, but it never did. I began to draw away slowly, becoming a distant voice in the wind. I had to learn to be in touch with my emotions similarly to Sappho, never letting them bear a heavy burden upon me, for my coworkers did enough of that. I couldn't let my heart grow bitter, and I continued to never give up, even when I felt the most unwanted. I continued to speak with respect and uphold my core values, even when I was not always graced with that luxury in return. I was a trusted asset to the team, but was not always given the hand to lift me up in my time of desperation. I never had the support from my superiors that was granted to the other challengers. I was looked down upon because of my youthfulness. My value was not shown through as gold, but instead was hammered over as iron is. The obstacle did not only lie in the people I faced, but also the situation around us. No one that came to that dark place was set up to slay their dragons. There was always an air of toxicity that rumbled through the establishment, a heavy weight that everyone could feel but couldn't always vocalize. Many people became sucked in like a whirlpool to the workplace and almost felt trapped after being there for 10 to 15 years. It almost felt as if there was no escape, with the loom of desperation reigning in everyone's hearts, but little with the courage to take a step out of the fog. But despite the challenges, I showed up every day with courage, bravery, and wisdom, ready to tackle the problems put before me. I never complained and always chose the bright side of a really desperate situation. I never felt like I was in the whirlpool I saw others struggling to survive in, and knew that place I was in wasn't always going to be for me. Some lows are not just a sign to keep trying, but other times it's a sign to get up and move to a whole new world, similar to how many ancient heroes thought. Audre Lorde used her voice and her truth in writings to overcome battles. For me, this was the time to speak up and move forward. I voiced my truth in a discussion with my overarching superior and put in my time. The journey from then to now was a long, unforeseen time of unknowns. But I knew the place I was in was one I couldn't stay in. I couldn't face the same dragons every day. I had to avoid a burnout in life. I did miss the dependency and the routine for a while, even though I had begun to feel trapped where I was before. I still longed for a feeling of usefulness again, for my heart and head to put full force into battle. This was a time of self-reflection and learning about myself, not in short ways, but in meaningful pursuits. I learned about my nobility, but I also learned my Achilles heel. And what holds me back in my heart, I knew that when the time was right, an opportunity would be placed into my lap like a teacup puppy. It wasn't until many months later where a sliver of promise came out of nowhere. After many failed applications, promises, and interviews, I had a hard time staying encouraged. My backup supply of money had almost run completely dry, and I was fully ready for something new. An opportunity presented itself, and with a full, petrifying leap of faith, I pursued it. I knew coming into a new job after the past with my old one was going to be a battle in itself, but I remained positive and refused to let the burden I had be transferred to this new possible mountaintop. Within no time, I was granted with the wish I longed most to receive. I was embraced and loved. I was shown with care and intent. I was trained how to battle there and was given the helping hand at any time I needed. I excelled in my role there and was recognized for that. I was finally in a place that was home. Even though the journey was long and unknown to get here, I never gave up and exuded with skilled bravery in the battle of life. And that is my journey into the unknown.